Alright, today is the start of part 1, reassembly. We're going to be reassembling the 1985 5.7 liter L98 engine. And we have our new head bolts here, along with these right there. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to clean out the thread holes to make sure that they're good on both sides. We're going to give it one last vacuum, and then we're going to start dabbing pre-lube on certain things when we get to it. But this morning I'm going to try and get both heads on with the new gaskets and torque down. We have the service manual to help us with that, and it has the torque specs and a whole bunch of things, and I would strongly suggest you get this manual. We have the new gasket kit. These are all the gaskets that I'm planning on using today, if I get to them. We have the Plenum down tubes and Plenum tubes. We have the intake manifold gaskets. We have, that goes here, the exhaust gaskets and the thermostat gasket, so we can get that done. Different bags of items here. Yeah, that's what I'm after in this manual, because it's just easy to find. It's the same pattern I used to take the heads off. It's the same pattern that I used to take the heads off. And I don't know, my serial number, of course, it's matching, so this is a matching motor and tranny. And I think we're ready to get going. So give me a second here and we'll start. I'm going to start on the passenger side and we're going to go from there. Alright, so put this on, seat it, and press it in. It goes, there's a triangle at this end, and then there's an oblong circle at this end. So I just want to very carefully push them on so I don't damage that. And I can get this out of the way. And this has to get bolted to the head, along with these ground wires right here. So I got to figure out a way to do that so that I can get this back in there. So what I'm going to do is probably seat the head and then see if I can reach in there and get that nut on. All right, to get this bracket on that holds the booster vacuum line, the brake booster vacuum line, and those two ground wires right there to the side of the driver's head, I had to go in from back here. I had to go in from back here with a 1/4-inch ratchet to get it connected up. What a pain in the buns that was. So we're on to the next thing, which is putting all the bolts in, getting them lubed up. I want to make sure nothing got broken while I was doing this, because that would like really suck. Yeah, I can see. Good. Alright, we're all good. It's all still lined up. So we'll get those in. So let me get those taken care of and I'll be right back. So we're going to follow the same pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This guy right here. 12, 13, 14, 15, 1617. And it's right now at 25 foot-pounds. I got the last piece in that I needed to replace, and that goes back here on the engine. And that goes back here on the engine. It's the oil pressure sensor. I still have to replace this sensor, and I have to fix that sensor because the wire broke off the connector. Alright, so we're going to look at checking out something. What I want to do is I want to look at this item right here and make sure that it's going to work. Alright. Yeah, it looks like it will. Get my glasses on. So this is the the sensor that goes in between cylinders 6 and 8. And looks like we're going to be good. Good. Excellent. Okay. Excellent. Alright, so we're gonna get the new gasket in place. So there's this adhesive that is used, and it is, from what I understand, meant to hold this gasket in place. So I guess I'm going to do that. And it says to put some down and then go back and make sure that it's set a little bit. So we're going to do the China walls on both ends and get ready to place the intake. You want a nice 3/16 inch bead from end to end. Okay, we're going to go through and just double check the torque setting on all the intake manifold bolts. I did that also when I did the head bolts. So I went through on the heads, I went through and I torqued everything down. I waited about a half an hour and I went through and I double checked, and there were some bolts that were loose and had to be re-torqued down. So it's always a good way to wait a little bit, let things settle, go back, check the torque on them. So we're set at 35 again, and here we go. So the first thing we're going to do today is we're going to pre-lube all the engine, make sure we're getting oil out of all the push rods. And I went and got a tool to be able to do that. There we go. It's in there, and basically you operate it with an electric drill or cordless drill. Alright, so we've pre-lubed everything. Everything looks good. So now I'm going to start mounting the exhaust manifold on the passenger side, get everything reconnected on the passenger side, the exhaust, this tube right here, which you can't see, this tube right here, which goes down, which goes over here and connects like so, which comes up here, right here, and we'll get that all connected, which goes right here, and we'll get that all connected, and it comes out right there, goes into the air switch cat diverter. So we'll get these bolts out, and then we'll get ready, and then we'll mount. After we get the exhaust manifold on, we'll again reinsert the sensor that goes right down there in between cylinders 6 and 8. Okay, when I put this on, I'm going to put very loosely the first and last bolt in on the exhaust manifold, so I can hang the exhaust gasket, the exhaust manifold gasket on them, and then I can put in the other bolts after it's hanging there. And lines up pretty good when you do that. So we will adjust that as we go. I need to get some gloves on because my gloves ripped. So now comes the fun part. I have to get the exhaust lined up and installed. So I don't know how well you can see this, but there is a bracket on the side of the exhaust, right there, that that on this tube down here, that right on that tube down there goes next to that, and a clip goes around the tube and around that to hold this tube in place, and I have to do that from the bottom. Alright, so I have the exhaust manifold mounted, I have it tied into the exhaust, I have this tied in to there, everything's tightened up. Now it's reconnect this to where it needs to go, which is right there, and put in that sensor that's right there, and we'll get that done. It's in between 6 and 8 cylinders, 6 and 8. It's in between cylinders 6 and 8. Got that mounted, and then we'll be done from this down, and then I can start getting the rest of the stuff connected. I'm going to reattach this, reattach that. It was only tied in with a zip tie, which you can probably see right there. You know, right down there. I'll get that out of there. And alright, so I have the bolts for this started that are underneath its actual pulley. So that's started. I got the nuts here just waiting for that. I got this tube back in, and I'm just gonna put its bolt in for now because I have to install the two sensors that go here. One's the temperature and one's the cold start sensor. Now this tube connects to these pipes here on top of the exhaust with these connectors right here. So I got to get this in, and then I can get this on and go from there. I have the driver's side exhaust manifold all torqued down to 20 pounds, and now I'm going to go underneath and connect the muffler down tube to the bottom of the driver's side exhaust manifold. Okay, so we have all the exhaust. It's tied in, the exhaust manifold on the driver's side tied in. It's tied into the muffler there. Now we're back to this tube right here, and we're going to get that connected up. Okay, so I got the water temperature sensor in. Now I'm putting in the cold start sensor, and we'll get that in. This one's a 15/16, and since I don't have anything in 3/8, I gotta use 1/2 inch. And I want that like so. Good, we're done. That's done. All right, let me get this back on here for right now. So we got this line back in, we got the sensors back in, we have the sensor here back in, we have the sensor here back in, but I have to make the blade for the wire. I have to attach the blade for the wire. It's the one that busted off on the driver's side. We can come back here and start getting ready to mount the Plenum runners, but we're going to do the distributor and hook all of its stuff up. So I got the distributor in. I got it all wired back up. I got this vacuum solenoid back in, connected and mounted on that bracket that mounted to the intake manifold. I have the vacuum line to the EGR connected. I have this getting ready for the plenum. I have this that goes to the bottom of the throttle body that goes into that vacuum line, vacuum switch right here. So we're basically ready to start putting on the plenum runners and getting ready to start laying all the other stuff in here. That has to go around like that, go around that. So yeah, so it's now and the reason this tool is so useful is this reason, right? Like that. Goes underneath all this stuff and gets to the distributor bolt. And the distributor is lined back up. I will have to time it again. You know, it's not 100%, but I know that it's at top dead center in the number one cylinder. And this is pointing to the number one spark plug right here. One. Right there. So, that's all good. So yeah, we've made quite a bit of headway today. Quite a bit. We got through a lot of items that I didn't think we'd get to. But we're doing good. I will be taking the blue tape markers off. You know, this one goes to the underneath the plenum there. Oh. So, let's see where we are. So I'm mounting this back up. This one down here was 13 millimeter. These two nuts over here are 9/16. What's left, I mounted the throttle connections. Got them all squared away right now. The alternator, the air pump, various vacuum tubes. Like this vacuum tube goes to the, underneath here to the throttle body. This one connects right down there. And this one goes from the top of the driver's valve cover and plugs in right there at the top of that. I'm very tired right now. So So, alternator, air pump, spark plugs and wires, valve covers, and various vacuum tubes, and it'll be done. So we have the passenger side valve cover back on, the air line that goes underneath and connects is held down by the valve cover bolts. We have the injector harness for the passenger side tied down. We have the heater hose back connected back to the bottom of the throttle body. We have the throttle body hose back in. We have these lines. These lines run the correct way. This one's ready to go into the mass airflow sensor. We have this open because we're going to probably need it for tuning. I don't have this tube right here connected. I will be doing it. I might want to look for a replacement before I put on the old ratty one. And now I'm going to jump over here and take care of this valve cover and all of its items on that side.
But also had to write out why they thought the recipient deserved the award. So in some ways it solidified both the giver as well as the receiver's sense of why the award was being given. Do you think that's an effective way to use money as a motivational tool?
That's very interesting indeed. I think this goes very much in the direction of awards, namely that one expresses exactly why somebody gets this additional.
leave a message for Emily, but you don't have to.
So exciting.
Well, that is exciting. Congratulations, Emily. Bye-bye, Emily. They know what you do. And now the game, we're going to ask people who've gone a long way from Philippines. Gina Charles goes across the river in a little town called Queens and was already a legend in high school for basketball skills. She went on to star at UConn, then was #1 WNBA draft. She's got 2 Olympic gold medals. She won WNBA Rookie of the Year and the MVP award. She's now the starting center. She's in New York Liberty. Gina Charles, welcome to the So I always ask this of elite athletes when I get to meet them. How young were you when you knew you were really good at this?
That took a while.
Really?
I feel like every time I felt that I was getting better, there was a reason why I wasn't. There was a coach, there was a person to remind me to stay humble. So I want to say around the time of high school, graduating high school, I was one of the top players, and then I got to UConn where there's other top players. Right. I had to learn to play hard.
Really?
I feel like nothing came easy for me. I was going to the parks in New York, I was the last one to pick. There were different teams that I tried out for that I didn't make. I had to hone in on my skill. I had to be in the gym early. Before class, I would try to go to the park early, so I had humble beginnings.